Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Action Comics issue 1077 by Mark Waid, Mariko Tamaki, Clayton Henry, Michael Shelfer, Megan Hetrick, Matt Herms, and Marissa Louise. Superman's mission to save the Phantom Zone soon gains the attention of some of his hero friends as Aether begins his attack on Earth's sun, absorbing its power and causing it to slowly but surely decay into nothing. Martian Manhunter and the Flash pick up on this first at the Watchtower, warning Mr. Terrific, who has gone in to investigate the sun, but all the ways he has on stopping it from decaying involve Superman. He's busy in the Phantom Zone. Waid is doing a great job peppering all his Justice League stuff and Watchtower stuff throughout all of these books, and he's making it feel like a very big connected larger story that all of these heroes are getting involved in each other's stories. And we saw that recently as well in Superman issue 20, where the Justice League are ready and waiting to deal with Doomsday should Superman fail. While the League work out how to save the sun, Superman is busy saving zoners from the now abundance of matter within the Phantom Zone. Superman helps out the zoners before hearing a Daxamite prayer, giving him Mon-El's location. The hero quickly saves his old friend, wanting to know how Mon got away from Aether. Again, Waid chooses an interesting direction for Mon-El as it's revealed that he killed again to escape, but is ashamed and doesn't admit it to Superman. And I like that Superman just immediately picks up on what he's done. Clark knows that Mon-El killed and he's able to read his friend pretty well. But it's been a lot of fun seeing how much the Zone has warped Mon-El into something that Clark can't really see. He can see his friend is still there, but he's been hardened and toughened by what the Zone has made him. And I can understand why it would, because obviously Mon-El cannot go back to Earth or like a tangible realm, because the poison in his blood will eventually kill him. So I can see him being a little bit bitter about that, and a little bit bitter that he won't actually get to have a proper life in like a proper world. So it would definitely harden him to the reality he's in, and he would eventually turn to killing despite what Clark has taught him. Clark is unable to confront his friend about this since he has more pressing matters at hand, as thanks to the knowledge he got from his father, he knows the more matter that is put into the Zone, the more volatile it will become, and soon it will destroy itself thanks to the power Aether will take from the sun. Mon-El is able to also provide extra information to Clark as he learns that the sun that Aether is targeting is Earth's. Mon-El gets a chance at redemption here as well. Superman plans on confronting Aether and dealing with the metal sphere he's been using to absorb said energy. Mon-El agrees to use his ship to help save those he can, giving him a chance to actually do some good for now. Superboy and Superman, meanwhile, return to the museum with the Khund, confronting the curator and revealing they know the attendance is down at the museum, being they never actually saw anyone else when they were in the museum themselves, so they have come with an offer. I really like the consistency of the curator here. The curator has been like a really fun little character that Mark Waid has created here, as they're just very blasé towards Keenan and Connor, viewing them as just mere exhibits in their museum and not actual people with actual rights and, you know, souls and all that sort of stuff. So when it's revealed that Superboy actually defeated the Khund and is now in charge of the Khund, the robot goes insane. It's like, oh, that can't possibly happen. You can't possibly have done that because you're just a mere exhibit. But it turns out, yes, they can actually do that, and Connor has become the Over-Admiral of the Khund fleet. Thanks to the command of the fleet though, Connor beams away the exhibits, planning on giving them back to their rightful owners, and Keenan is able to calm the Khund and proposes to pay off the curator for helping them organize and send everything back to where it actually belongs. And his less than violent approach, which he was trying to do before Connor took everything over, actually works, and all of the trophies and items that were taken from the Fortress of Solitude soon beamed back home, along with Keenan and Connor, who are both happy to be home, and in Connor's case, away from a boring museum. I really like the dynamic here because Keenan very clearly knows that Connor has no interest in, you know, history and any of this sort of stuff. He's your usual millennial. He doesn't care about, you know, all the stuff in the museum because it's old and boring. And I like that he entices Connor to come to an exhibit in Metropolis by saying, hey, there might be girls there. And I like that immediately catches Connor's attention, and they both head off to go and view this museum in Metropolis. While this seems to be the end of their adventure here, I'd like the book to keep checking up on the two heroes and maybe see them getting into more adventures over in Metropolis somewhere. Their dynamic is a lot of fun, and like I said in a previous review, it's like they're just bickering brothers, and it just works really well. Their adventure was also a nice bit of levity intercut with Superman's more serious Phantom Zone story. It means we get a bit of everything, which is always a win for an action comic, since that's really what it should be, just sort of a variety issue of all the different things that a Superman book can and could be. Superman, meanwhile, confronts Ether, who continues to posture and monologue about how he wants the people to praise him and show him some appreciation. Superman calls him out on that and thinks that he should find the sympathy that drew him into the zone in the first place, and he should use it again to help these people. I always love that Superman gives the villain a chance to change their path, and he's very eager to help them find that way and to aid them in that. And Ether is too far gone, it seems, knowing the zoners immediately resorted to violence when he came in there, and Superman actually has a really nice retort to that, being that he shouldn't have resorted to violence, because violence begets violence and more violence, and it's just a vicious circle, and him doing what he did just made it worse. Clark soon spots Ether's sphere, finding the villain is using its power to appear bigger and look tougher to him, which the hero knows is a good thing since it makes him a bigger target to attack. Despite Superman delivering a heavy blow to the villain, he finds out that his power is draining again and his gauntlets are on low power. So he changes up tactics and goes directly for the sphere, which is when Superman realizes the villain really just doesn't care for him, Phantom Zone, or Earth's sun, and he will kill them all. While I haven't really liked how much Ether has been spouting the same type of monologue every single issue since the beginning of this series, I do appreciate how petty he is. The dude just never got praise, and so he thinks the correct way to deal with that is to just kill everything because they're not praising him enough. It's just so childish and simple, and it's really different from what we usually get from a Superman villain who is usually, trying to conquer the world or, take over the universe or, something like that. It's just a very childish thing to have to combat. While Superman thinks that he is about to die, Mon-El and his ship arrives just in time, blasting Ether and freeing the Man of Steel. Clark is too weak to reach the sphere though, as Ether continues to siphon off energy from it, growing more and more in size, but doing this might prove Ether's downfall, as the more mass he gathers and the size he grows, the more gravity he creates, and all of the debris that is in the field begins to be pulled towards him and will collapse in on him. Ether is soon consumed by the gravity well as rocks and debris pelt him, and this causes him to try and call out for help, but a great explosion engulfs him before Superman can do anything to save him. I'm quite surprised that Ether is gone, but I really like how he went out. It was his own hubris, and that was his ultimate downfall. And it's quite interesting that had Superman not intervened, I think Ether would have just killed himself regardless. The people of the zone would no doubt have all died, Mon-El probably would have died, but the villain would have probably killed themselves regardless of Superman's intervention. And I thought that's quite an interesting take on this whole story, where it wasn't really Superman coming to combat the villain that sort of sparked everything. It was just going to happen regardless. I think it pairs nicely with the story we got of Krypton there, where Superman, no matter him being there or anything, things were still going to play out as they were, and eventually the planet would explode and there was nothing he could really do. Superman is soon rescued by Mon, and just in time too, since Ether's death didn't stop the chaos. In fact, it made it worse, as the zone is still creating mass. Mon tells Superman to leave and to go and save his son while he looks after the prisoners, unable to follow Clark thanks to the poison in his blood. Mon staying with the prisoners to me feels a little ominous, since 2 times now we have been shown that to ensure his own survival, not his crew, his own survival, Mon-El has resorted to killing. And I have a feeling we're going to get a final 3rd time, and Superman will finally have to confront Mon-El with what has happened to him while he's been in the Phantom Zone. At least that's where I see the story going, but Wade could pull some sort of twist, and I can't wait to see what he does with it. I'd love to see Mon-El back in the main world and be able to live a physical, tangible life out on Earth. That would be really cool. While Mark Waid's main story is over, Mariko Tamaki's Supergirl story continues to grind on, but this time we actually are given a little bit if just a sliver of storyline. And it's actually quite cool, as we learn that the alien that Kara has been sent to take is one half of two beings, a brother and sister, and when they tasted war, they wanted nothing else, and the being Supergirl is charged with taking is one half of this duo, and when they combine the symbols on their hands, it creates a powerful explosion that destroys planets. At least that's how I took it. That's how it sort of plays out in the art, where they combine the symbols and the planet they're on explodes. What's interesting as well, Tamaki initially connected her story being super to this issue. We are also connected to Tom King's Woman of Tomorrow book, as the brother of the being was present during Kara's battle with Krem of the Yellow Hills, having watched her battle with him. The way Tamaki uses the story is actually quite cool, since it's revealed that the brother of this being is fueled by rage and his sister is fueled by fear. So he shows visages and visions and images of Supergirl to his sister, which in turn causes her to fear Kara, and the fear in turn fuels her brother's anger, which he can then use to destroy more worlds. It's a thoroughly interesting concept that I can't fathom why it took so long to get here. A twist to the story happens here as well, as the sister is able to escape her brother's torment and kill him with his own sword. This causes the planet they are on to blow up and her to be cast out into space and no doubt found and then, blamed for what happened. It's alluded to that the brother cannot die and is still alive, and now the sister is being hunted by him, and Kara was brought there to kill the sister, so the cycle ends, and if she doesn't willingly, she won't be given a choice. It's interesting how there's echoes of what's going on over in Williamson's Superman book in this, where Superman is also faced with a similar choice where he has to kill the time trapper Doomsday, and if he doesn't, he won't be given the choice, and it's to break the cycle. I thought that was quite an interesting sort of connection there, and I wonder if there's maybe some sort of synergy going on there. All of this story adds so much and is just so much more engaging than the previous 5 or 6 issues, and I hate that it took so much of nothing to get us here. And I get that the story was very obviously chopped up to suit a weekly narrative, but it just didn't work. So I don't know why they didn't just let it play out as organically as it could, 3 or 4 parts, and then have like a different backup by a different writer-artist team, or just have like another story from Mariko Tamaki in the backups here after this one. You could have easily done that. Megan Hetrick's art is still really awesome for the story, and it's just colourful and dynamic, and I love the contrast in the yellows and deep pinks and purples of the backgrounds. It really makes just the art pop, stand out, and that's all thanks to Marissa Louise's beautiful colours. Action Comics issue 1077 took us into the final act of the Phantoms storyline, with some great action, intrigue and humour. Wade is setting a great balance with the Superman and the Conan Keena storylines melding well together. We get humour in one, action and intrigue in the other, and it's a nice balance, and it's something I've always enjoyed in an Action Comics issue. Even the Supergirl backup has begun to unravel its story in a very interesting way, with some deep connecting tissue to some modern classic Supergirl stories like Woman of Tomorrow. I am going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.